seen in your industry, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, that's okay.
In your industry, so what I've seen in talking with a lot of different young people is, so what are you doing for work? Well, I'm doing this right now, but I'm not going to stay there. Maybe maybe 2 years. So to your point, you're already thinking about what's next. How committed of an employee and how good of a job are you actually going to do where you are? Because you're looking, for the next shiniest bauble, whatever that may be. You're already not invested 100% in what you're doing, as opposed to being invested 100% in what you're doing. And ultimately, you'll probably have more options of whatever that next thing may be.
It's a big problem in the financial industry for sure, because they bring all these young guys in, gals. They slap them on a team with a book of business, and they don't want to work. Number one, we have an assistant working with us he's from India, and he's smart. He doesn't want to work. And I asked somebody, said, we put in a new CRM, contact relationship manager system. And I said, I want you to learn that system and figure out how to help us with our business. He's not interested. So he won't do it. And our system has a thing, I can send him a task to do. But I can't do it from home on my phone. But I can send him an email. So I sent him an email the other day, asked him to send out $30,000 to one of our clients. It's sort of his monthly deal. And his response was, could you please send me a task to do that? And I want to take a task and shove it up his ass. I said, just do it. It's not that hard.
So is that because the tasks are tabulated, and he potentially says, well, I want to have as many tasks as possible when I do decide to move on to whatever I decide to move on to, so I can show people how hard I work, even though I don't?
No, it's not a scorecard, but it's part of a system, a communication system to get things done. But he doesn't, he wants the tasks, but he doesn't, as soon as you send it to him, he'll then prioritize how important he thinks it is and do it when he gets around to it. And he's not all that busy. And being from India, he watches cricket on his work computer.
Okay.
And, and yet he wants to be an advisor. So what the deal is, he doesn't really want the job he has. I think he feels it's beneath him. And he, we get into these conversations about investment portfolios or stuff, and the stuff that we do that works. And he likes to argue with us. He's got, well, why don't we do it this way? Because this way works. I've been doing this for 45 years. I used to do it that way, but that doesn't come out with good outcomes for clients. And this is a better way of doing it. And I've written a book on, achieving financial freedom. And so when we hired him, I gave him a copy of the book. He hasn't read it. I'll ask him, you read the book yet? No, I haven't had time. What do you mean you haven't got time? You're too busy playing cricket and watching cricket.
Yeah, it's so it is. It's a common, unfortunately, it's a common problem. Like I always say, you don't start out retired. That's how you end up.
Yeah.
But it's the mindset of, I graduated from school, I've got my degree. All right, now it's on the coast. I just get the six-figure job, and away I go.
So I'm mentoring the son of a guy I hired a bunch of years ago, and he works at the old company, RBC, Royal Bank of Canada. And but I'm mentoring his son. His son was a national champion wrestler, and for the University of Minnesota. And people get confused, and to your point, the outcome is you retired. You don't start out retired, but a lot of these young people get on teams, and they think, okay, well, I got it made. I just have to hang around long enough till the senior guy's gone, and now I can run the business. Well, the problem is that the senior guy's clients are all older than the senior guy, right? and you're 40 years old or 35 years old or 20 some years old. All those clients are going to be dead before you're in the middle of your career. And so they gave us a guy on our team who was in his early 50s, had been selling wine until the pandemic came out. I don't know. Anyways, but he's Latino. Okay, so this was part of the DEI sort of deal, and he would never come to the office. He told us he had all these connections we have a very big Latino community here in Minnesota. He had big connections there with all those people. They all wanted to do business with him. This guy didn't work. I mean, he just literally did not do hardly any work unless it involved going out to lunch or going out to dinner. And in the early couple of years, the firm was paying for it. So he liked to drink a lot, and he was part of a group that was hired, financial advisor training program, and we went down to Chicago, Chicago, I can't remember, for the graduation, and then so on and so forth. And 6 months into it, I talked to the person from corporate, saying, "So how many of these people?" And there were like 25 of them. "How many of them are out prospecting for business?" And they said, "None of them." I said, "So why did we hire them?" "Well, they're all on teams." Well, yeah, but this is a sales job, right? And you have to continuously bring new people to the business, because the current clients, number one, they don't all stay forever. They either die or they leave. I mean, it's very rare that you work with a family for 30 or 40 years. It just kind of doesn't happen. And especially when you start in the business and you're 25 years old, guarantee you that your first 20 clients won't be with you 10 years later, for the most part. And you have to have sales skills. Well, they don't have sales skills, and they're not asked to sell. They're networking. But they spend most of their time having coffee with their friends at Caribou or Starbucks or somewhere. And then it's astounding to me. So the young guy that I'm mentoring, I'm just telling him, "Dude, this is a sales job. Get out there and sell, and you get way more failures than you get successes."
Yeah, you have to. It's kind of like recruiting, right? You gotta be willing to hear no a lot before you hear yes.
And most people don't want to hear no.
Right? No, I agree.
And if somebody's going to pay them to sit around the office and I call it the illusion of work. So when I started in the business, you were in the office and you had to read the Wall Street Journal, then you had to read the local paper. Oh, no, I got a cup of coffee, check the market. Oh, God, it's almost time to get ready to go have lunch. So you got to figure out where you're going to go have lunch and who you're going to have lunch with. Then you come back to the office and, make a few phone calls. I started at Merrill Lynch. Guys were doing that, and I said, "This is silly." So I made arrangements, and I would go do seminars out in Montana and South Dakota, ranchers and farmers, about how to hedge your business in the futures market. I get in my car and drive out there and run these seminars, and they go, "You're crazy." I said, "Yeah, but every time I came back, I had 5 new clients." I said, "How many do you have?" They're sitting there cold calling, and oh God. Anyways, yeah, you're right. It's We all
Well,
want to stay connected.
Hal, I'm sitting back here listening to everything you've said, and um, the employees who are sort of along for the ride and not pulling their weight.
Yep.
Um, is there any way, like I think of coaching, how do you push their buttons? Or are there no buttons to push, so you push them under the carpet? What do you do? Like, is there a secret, or like our job is to make each other better? I always
Yep.
say in business and in sport,
Yep.
it's not I'm going to make more money than you. It's I'm going to do things better than you. I'm going to win.
Well, I think one of the things, and Hal's probably hit on it with that friend's son that he's mentoring there, is that's why I find in a lot of industries, especially in the sales industries where there's groups or teams like Hal's talking about, is employers are very open to hiring former varsity NCAA athletes.
Yep. 100%.
They have a sense of what it means to be on a team. And I think that is huge. The ability to just, like, again, pick up a teammate who's maybe, talking about hockey, maybe a fifth liner who's trying to be a fourth liner, right? We know how to pick that guy up. Well, hopefully that translates to, there's somebody that maybe is struggling a little bit with sales and clients and, like, what can I do? Like, well, here's some ideas. Here's what I do. As opposed to everybody trying to figure out, like Al saying, so who's got the best coffee today? Or
yep. That's a great point. And I've hired a lot of guys that were hockey players. And one of the things about hockey, in my opinion, is you get knocked down all the time playing hockey, and you get right back up and you get back in the game, and you learn to play anaerobically, because it is an anaerobic sport, not aerobic like soccer or some of these other things where or even basketball is pretty much aerobic. So you play hard and then you rest, and you play hard and you rest. But in hockey, also, because of to be successful, you need your teammates to be successful. So I hired a hockey player when it was 20 some years ago, and I actually coached him at Augsburg College, and he was from International Falls, and he ended up working for RBC in the finance area, and I ran into him, and then he wanted to do what I was doing, which is be on the sales side. So I brought him in, and I spent 3 years mentoring him and traveling with him to International Falls to meet with people he knew up there, because his family was pretty well connected. And I taught him how to do the business. And of course, no good deed goes unpunished. And he split off and took some of our joint clients with him. But at that point, I didn't really care. And he lives in Grand Rapids, and he's got a nice business up there and supporting his family. And I'm proud of him. I'm proud of the fact that, I spent 3 years mentoring him and, teaching him how to do the business. And I've done this with several people. And, but, you get to corporate, and circling back to what Wally had, was talking about, the people in corporate who are in training and are, supposed to be helpful have never done the job. They've never sat in the chair. And they don't know what it's like, when the markets go down 30 or 40% and your income goes down 30 or 40%. The corporate people's income stays the same. Right? They don't have to worry about it. They worry about keeping the job maybe, but and they all mean well, but they just don't get it. And
circles
Sonia.
back, yeah, circles back to Wally and that gentleman you're going to be meeting and the value of experience.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think the run, guys. It's a early day, and
yeah, I do too.
I gotta go over to school. I gotta get my grandchildren.
And my daughter just called. She's my business partner, but she just called also, so I got to get back to her. It's great to talk. It's great to talk to you guys. I'm super excited about your coaching deal, Peter. I hope to hear more about that.
Yeah, I am too. I can't wait to. Wally, I'm not sure if you'll be on when I get back, but I might give it a shot once I get the Indians settled.
There you go.
I think
All right.
what I'm going to do is I'm going to call it a day here.
Yep.
Because I wrote down 3 topics. If you got the email, we never talked about one of them. but
All right.
but I think, like a good coach, you go with the flow. You know what you want to get out of it, and I brought that gentleman up about aging and purpose and survival and living longer, and that's sort of the gist of it. And yeah, we got into leadership and coaching and motivation, and it was great. It's a shark session, unbelievable. I'm not gonna edit it. I'm gonna share it with the gentleman who's gonna do this TV interview, and I may get him to come on if he wants to interview us and ask questions. But
That'd be fun.
I think you might want only guys over 75 or over 80. And I'm just going to close with one story. My 80-year-old best friend in my hometown in Saskatchewan, his boys are running his farm, large farmland. And every time I phone him, he's on the tractor. He's 80 years old.
Yeah.
That's good to me. Hey, my dad worked on the nursery till he was 80. I remember one day, lunchtime, he got angry, he threw down his trowel, and he said, I got to go home. I said, what's the matter? He said, I'm tired. You're 80. You can be tired. It's okay. You can agree. So,
That's good.
I got to run. I'm going to get in trouble.
Okay, guys. Take care, Hal. Take care.
Yep. See you,
Have a
boys.
good one. Bye-bye.